I'll just kind of leave with something Tom said. You mentioned that it was really all about, picking and choosing and finding ways to sort of challenge yourself, but not in a way that's overwhelming
Mm-hmm.
or all at once. And what I'll say about caregiving is this, nobody really knows when they're going to become a caregiver, right? It's not something you plan for. It's not really something that you see coming in the game of life, And one of the things I really like to tell people and stress, it's so important because trust me when I tell you, I got it very wrong for the first 10 years that I was doing it. Not only was I trying to do it alone, thinking I can manage this somehow on my own two shoulders, but number two, all of these things are so great. Eating well, getting a good night's rest. I mean, the sleep is so critical. Everything falls apart when you're not well rested. No one can manage the difficulties of an average life when you're sleep deprived. But when it hits the fan and then you're sleep deprived, it brings on a whole other layer of difficulty and complexity. And it might be caring for Alzheimer's. It might be developing Alzheimer's yourself or another critical illness. But it becomes really important to always have these pillars to lean back on, meaning when you become a caregiver and something bad happens in your life or a medical event happens, those are not the times that you're going to wake up and decide, oh, I know, I'm going to start exercising 5 days a week and doing brain training, and I'm going to eat healthy and make sure I'm shopping all organic, eating, no processed food. No, those are the times in your life where you're going to reach for the Doritos that Ed's talking about on Super Bowl Sunday. You're going to want to stay up all night, binging Netflix or a series that's probably bad for your brain. Those are the times when your health suffers just naturally by the state of having trauma happen in your life. So if you have these pillars set up and you're really concentrating on more holding back what your pillars are instead of just all of a sudden trying to develop these habits, you're going to be better set up to manage the traumatic events in your life, such as becoming a caregiver. Because it is hard. I said to my husband last night, being a caregiver, particularly in the end stages of a disease, which my personal type of disease, my mother has early onset, it's really hard. It's kind of like being in a pool and having somebody's foot on your head all the time. And occasionally you come up and you think you're about to take a breath of air and maybe you even get half a breath and you're like, okay, I can make it through this. And then the next thing you know, the foot's right back down on you and there you are underwater again. It's really hard. The emotional toll that it takes, it's just one of the most challenging aspects to life, in my opinion. Caregiving specifically, but Alzheimer's caregiving or dementia caregiving, where you're taking care of somebody that doesn't appreciate what you're doing. They may or may not. They may not know you. They're not in any way, shape, or form like who they were before. It's tremendously difficult. And it is, it'll change you. It really will over time if you don't take care of yourself. And particularly because of the duration of these diseases. They go on 5 to 7 years as average, but I'm 13 years into my caregiving experience with probably another 18 months, possibly even ahead of me in end stage. So you really do I want everyone who's listening today to think about everything that Travis has said and that Tom said and that Annie said, and try and start incorporating these things into your life now, as slowly as you have to. Travis, what's your favorite phrase? As slow as we can, or as fast as we can, as slow as we must.